What's up, guys? It is the 4th of July, so that means we have to take a look at the most American figure I could find in my collection. That would be the Four Horsemen Studios Gothitropolis Ravens, or Mythic Legions now, because that line has shifted over into Mythic Legions, the Eagalus figure, the American Eagle Warrior. So let's move him aside for a second. We'll take a quick look at packaging. So this is the same kind of packaging we've seen with this entire wave. So it's collector friendly, resealable. It's just a bubble on a card. We've got our accessories here. We've got some just taglines, Eagalus, American Eagle Warrior. We've got his bio on the inside of the card. And then the back is just an American flag motif. So it's the same kind of packaging we've gotten with the rest of the line, except it is very America inspired. So not a great deal to talk about, but it is worth noting that it is similar but also different at the same time. So let's take a look at our figure here. And I was pretty excited to actually get a hold of this guy. I've had him for a little while and I just wasn't ready to do a review of him, and then I realized today that I had him, so we might as well do it. Today is the best time. So he is, as with all of the other Ravens in the line, he is the same base body, same base everything, outside of a few key differences. So the head is different, paint scheme is obviously different, and then he has this cape. So this is obviously American flag inspired. It doesn't have the standard motif. It's got an eagle head where, you know, the star field would normally just be the rectangle. It's an eagle's head, and it's tattered and it's torn. So you can see he's been in battle with it basically. I like the way it looks, but it's honestly my also least favorite part of the figure, because while the prototype images when this guy before this guy originally came out showed that it sat on him very well, it really doesn't sit all that well on him. It's just, you know, soft goods either work or they don't. And this is kind of in a weird gray area, because it does work sometimes, but other times if I just sort of touch it even slightly, it's going to ruin the look and just the way it hangs on him. So it's not, you can't pop it out really. It does have a clasp here and it does go through the fabric, but I don't think you're supposed to remove it, and if you did, you'd probably have to glue it back together. So it just sort of sits over top of his shoulders, and like right now it doesn't look too bad, but it also sits way too high, and it's just based on the way the fabric is folded. It's kind of stiff fabric. It's not exactly very, very soft. It is starchy almost. It's not bad, but really, I think he looks cooler most of the time without it. So we're going to pull it off. And, you know, just as he is American themed in all other aspects, he is definitely American themed in his paint design. So, like I said, he does have the same body as all of the rest of the Mythic Legions, Gothitropolis Ravens, but his paint scheme is very different. We're going to talk about the accessory he has first. He's holding just this normal kind of spear. Some of the other figures have it. I think Voltus has it. And, you know, it's just one of the standard weapons in the line. It's a spiked club with a spear tip on the end. It's a kind of metallic gold bronzy color, and the tip does come off if you want to more easily put it in his hand, but it's not really necessary. Kind of bland, but that's just the way it is, so they can get you to buy other stuff. That's just how this line works. Now, he does have other feet, and I've never shown these in any other video really, because I don't have a way to display them. I don't have the flight stands for these guys. So he has clawed feet, he has kind of grasping feet, and then more action pose feet. So that's pretty much all there is to those. Now, I'm going to take this out of his hand actually. So as far as the sculpt goes, like I've said with all the other figures in this line, they look absolutely amazing. There is detail on every single, you know, inch of this figure. He's got all the little bits and bobs all over his belt. You can see every bit of detail in those feathers. Everything has line work in them. All of that armor is kind of meticulously sculpted, and these figures are kind of a testament to what the Four Horsemen can do when they get to have free reign on their own toy line. So we know they do really well with Masters of the Universe Classics, but this is their baby, and they really ran with the idea in terms of making these guys as detailed as possible. I love every one I've got. I've got 4 of them, and you know, I'm fully invested in the next Mythic Legions Kickstarter. I went full bore on that one and went all in. So I really like what they do with these figures. And while I don't necessarily regret not getting more of these, and I'm sure my wife doesn't either, I do kind of wish I had a few more to round out a bigger group. but they all are pretty amazing, and they all kind of look the same, but at the same time, I mean, they're birds, so what are you going to expect? The differences in the head here, as far as sculpt goes, tons of sculpted detail, lots of small feathers on that head. I mean, he looks like an eagle. What can I say? They did a really good job with that beak, with those eyes. So, very good stuff. I'm always pleased to mess around with one of these figures. As far as paint goes, again, same as with sculpt, every little bit is detailed. Everything has paint on it. Tons of paint apps on these guys. You know, just everywhere. Reds and blues and golds and whites and shading all over. It's exceptional. The only place I really have a problem is actually in the mouth. There's a bit of white in the mouth where it doesn't belong. But you can only look at it when you're like kind of dead on, so it doesn't really bother me. As far as articulation goes, he is pretty well articulated. They can twist at the waist. They do have a bit of a bend at the torso. Head's on a ball. It can move around and up and down. Arms can go out and up and all around. There is a bicep swivel. They have double jointed elbows, and then they have a hinge and a swivel at the wrist. Legs can go out pretty far, almost full splits. They go forward 90 degrees. They go back just a bit. They do swivel at that thigh joint. They do have double jointed knees. And then they also swivel at swivel a bit at the, what would be kind of the, I don't know, what do you call that on a bird? It doesn't matter. On this second joint, they also hinge there, and then they hinge and they rotate at the foot, at the ankle. So they are loaded with articulation, and, you know, these kind of joints sometimes lead to stability issues, but the fact that they have such wide feet, they stand pretty well, and you can get them into some interesting poses. So overall, I'm very pleased with this guy. I think the cape is, you know, it's a cool idea, but in practice it doesn't work all that well. That said, I think he looks just as cool even if he doesn't have it on. All right, so overall, you know, I'm doing this review simply because it's 4th of July. I kind of forgot that I had this guy to do. Just sort of slipped my mind, and then I realized, oh, yeah, we need to do him on the 4th. You know, excellent figures. This is a great line. I'm a big fan of the Four Horsemen, so I'm kind of partial to these figures in general, but I love the, you know, just the different ways that they can make different figures out of the same body. I think they do a really good job of that. Tons of paint apps, tons of sculpted detail, great articulation. They come with a handful of accessories, and this guy comes with even more than usual with that cape. It's not the greatest thing in practice, but I like the fact that they included it. And if you can get it to work, you know, more power to you. So that is going to do it for this review, everyone. As always, stay tuned for more. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time.